So we had one of our fans call out and ask if we could come up with a way for people to cook in the dorm with nothing but a little tiny refrigerator and the use of a microwave. Chances are you don't have a lot of tools, chances are you don't have a lot of funds, and you don't have a lot of time. But that doesn't mean you can't have some control over what you have to snack on and what you have to eat. This episode is called The Dorm Debacle, and it's set up for your success. So we wanted to answer our fans and do what you have asked. And I will be honest, it was really, really hard. I wanted to see if I could get enough snacks and food for a week for $35. I couldn't even begin to load the refrigerator with things that I wanted to eat or put together without spending almost $50. So I'm gonna tell you that don't get dismayed, don't get bummed out. Some things are gonna cost a lot, but they'll last for a few weeks. And over the course of time, you'll be able to make use of it and it'll pay off. But don't be surprised when things that are very, very simple and easy end up costing a pretty penny. A bottle of salad dressing is like $4 or $5. A little tiny thing of peanut butter is like $3 or $4. Just getting a couple burrito shells can be $3 or more. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do the best we can with what we've got in this little refrigerator, and I'm gonna show you what I was able to purchase for $47, and then we'll create some things out of that. And as future episodes of this come around, we'll try different things to make a more illustrious and fun menu for what you can do in your dorm room. So first, let's take a look at what we were able to get for $47. I was able to get a loaf of bread, which was about $1.29, a little bit of wheat bread. We've got tortilla shells. These were a little bit more expensive. There's 8 shells. It was about $2.45. I got peanut butter and honey. The honey can be used for sweeteners. It can be used to make a sandwich with. There's many uses, but it was expensive. I was really tempted to get just a 5-pound bag of sugar, but to be honest, peanut butter and sugar sandwiches are not attractive. The peanut butter was about $3.65. I got 2 cans of tuna. I got a can of refried beans, which was about $2. These were $1.09 each about. I broke down and I got 2 Maruchan cup of noodles just in case I needed to have a little treat that didn't require a lot of time or a lot of thought. They're always ready to go. You just have to put boiling water over it, and then you have to be patient enough to let the noodles hydrate. But overseas, these things are worth their weight in gold, and I'm sure that college students are very, very familiar with it. I've got a quart of milk. I got 2 bags of shredded cheese, Mexican style and sharp cheddar. I got 1 head of romaine. I got a lemon and a tomato. Oops. I've got a couple of apples. I've got some carrots. I went and made a huge purchase of $7.99 to get a thing of roasted chicken. I wanted chicken, but that was the most cost-effective way to do it, but it's enough chicken for probably 5 days. I just have to shred it and pull it off the bone. I made 2 big purchases of a little bit of mayo and a little bit of Caesar dressing. And then, to be completely honest, with the amount of space that we have, it was probably not that wise to get this many eggs. but to be completely honest, there was a deal where you buy one, get one free, and the eggs won't go bad, and this is probably 3 weeks worth of eggs, maybe even up to 4 weeks worth of eggs. So I couldn't pass that up. So this is approximately $47 worth of product that we're gonna try and turn into some interesting meals. I will be completely blunt. It's not particularly sexy, and it's probably gonna be more of an exercise in rationing and trying to make things interesting when you don't have that much to go on. But we can still create some impressive things. Are you ready? So we're gonna start by making a really quick breakfast burrito. All we're gonna do is we're gonna scramble up some eggs. We're gonna cook them in the microwave to get them fluffy and get them cooked all the way through. And then we're gonna add a little bit of refried beans and a little bit of Mexican style cheese. And we've got some packets of salsa from Taco Bell that were left over that we can use. Quickly transfer the beans into the microwavable container. Be very careful because these things can be very sharp. I'm just using over-the-counter refried beans from Vons. It's their Signature Select brand. It was about $2 for a can, and this should be enough refried beans to make probably 4 or 5 burritos, maybe more. Now, if we're gonna be making about 4 burritos, what we're gonna do is we're gonna make enough eggs for that. Generally, if you're making a burrito with eggs in it, 2 eggs per burrito is normal, but if you're gonna be adding the beans and some cheese, 1 egg per burrito to 1.5 eggs per burrito should be just about right. We're gonna do 5 eggs for 4 burritos. Once it's scrambled relatively well, we're gonna add a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper, just to give it a little bit of seasoning. And because we want them fluffy, what we're gonna do is we're gonna add about 1/3 of a cup of water, and then we're gonna nuke it. So we nuked it first for about 1 minute and 25 seconds, and what you'll see is that it's starting to form and cook on the edges. So we're gonna re-scramble it up, and we're gonna put it in for another 1 minute and 25 seconds. We put it in for another 1.5 minutes, and it's still scrambling. So we're gonna break it up a little bit and put it back in. We're really looking to make sure that it's cooked all the way through. But just like a pan, where you are peeling the egg and mixing it up to get all the parts cooking, the microwave will also cook directly over specific areas. So you just keep blending it together and then putting it back in. I'm thinking that after this next 1.5 minutes, we should be close to done. Okay, so this is the 3rd time that we've put it in the microwave for 1 minute and 25 seconds, and it's almost perfect. In fact, chances are, if we gave it just a minute, it would probably continue to cook all the way through and we would be done. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna fluff them up and kind of mix them up so that they're easier to place. And there you have microwave scrambled eggs for a bean and cheese and egg burrito. So we put the beans in for 1 minute. They're still not cooked all the way through. They're not warm all the way through. So we're gonna put it in for about another 1 minute and 30 seconds, and then we'll be able to put the burritos together. So it's been 1.5 minutes, and they're nice and soft and able to be moved. So we're ready to start constructing our burritos. The main thing that you want to keep in mind is that you don't want to overstuff the burritos. It makes it hard to roll, it makes it hard to keep together, and you're gonna end up going through a lot more product when you're trying to be thrifty. So I'm gonna pull out 4 burritos. So what we're gonna do now is we're going to build the burritos, and what we're looking for is to create basically a packet of material that has all the flavor and everything that you need, but is still able to be rolled. We're putting down a little bit of the beans to start, about 3 or 4 tablespoons. And the next thing that we're gonna do is put down a little bit of the egg. Be careful, the bowl may be hot. And then we're gonna put down a little bit of cheese for flavor and also for texture. We're using the Mexican style blend because it makes for a better breakfast burrito. Flavors and texture are just perfect. Now what you're gonna do is you're going to push it in, and then you're going to pull it so that it is tight. And then roll. And there you go, a breakfast burrito ready to go. Once again, we're going to flip it and fold it so that it completely encapsulates, pull it back in, and then wrap. And there you have 4 breakfast burritos that are ready to go. Now, when you go to eat them, what you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna want to wrap them in a paper towel and make sure that the paper towel is a little wet. That will soften up the tortillas and allow them to cook in a way that makes it soft and enjoyable. So we've wrapped it with the paper towel, and what we're gonna do now is we're just gonna get it so that it's moist all the way around to get it ready to be microwaved. And then we can put it into the microwave. Okay, so I've put the 3 breakfast burritos that we're not gonna eat into freezer bags or sealed bags. The most important thing that you can do in your kitchen is to leave the little notes for yourself to make sure you know when something was made. It's a way to prioritize what you're gonna go through. And if you have these bags and a Sharpie, it's very easy to just go ahead and say, breakfast burrito, and then the date. And then you'll know when you go into your fridge, when you opened it, when it was made, and whether it's good. These should be consumed within 2 days or 3 days of making. So you have a breakfast burrito for the next 3 days if you want. And the one that we nuked is now hot all the way through. And because it was wrapped in a wet towel, it's nice and moist, and it's gonna be beautiful. And there you have a little bit of egg, a little bit of cheese, and a little bit of bean, all evenly dispersed so that the flavor goes all the way through. And you just grab a packet of your favorite hot sauce or whatever you happen to have through, a little salt and pepper if you'd like, and go to town on breakfast. Okay, so we made the bean, cheese, and egg burritos, and we're left with a significant amount of beans that aren't particularly sexy at the moment. But one of the best things on a late night is bean dip. So how are we gonna change this from just a can of refried beans into a kind of sultry bean dip? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you how to loosen it up and have it prepped so you can nuke it and serve it with some chips late at night when you're studying. Are you ready? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take some of the water that we used to make the eggs with, and we're gonna add it to loosen up the beans. What that's gonna do is it's gonna create a creamy, softer textured bean. It should be the consistency of like an applesauce, because if it's not soft and loose, you're gonna end up with the chip death scenario where you keep losing chips trying to pick up the dip, and then somebody ends up getting all the fragments and somebody ends up being the big winner of the dip. Now that it's soft and it's able to be used, we're gonna add a little bit of the cheese to it. Just about maybe 3 tablespoons worth. Make sure that it's evenly mixed throughout. What that's gonna do is that's going to blend the oils from the cheese and the flavor from the cheese into the dip. And once we've done that, we can literally make ourselves little tiny individual servings for when we're ready. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna portion it into the right size for a midnight snack or a study session later on. And we've got 4 bowls. You want about 3/4 of a cup per bowl. We don't want to waste. So if you have a spatula, use the spatula to get the last ounces or last bits out of the bowl. If not, work harder with a spoon like I am, because I'm just too stubborn to go and get the spatula. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna wrap it with a little bit of plastic, and we have 4 snacks ready to go. All we need is some chips, and we can add a little bit of cheese over the top. We can add a little bit of chopped tomato. If you feel like it, you can get some chopped, a little bit of maybe scallion or green onion to put over the top. But literally, this is a good basis for a snack later. So we've got our snacks ready to go. We're just wrapping the last one. And as I said before, make sure that you mark on the top the date that it was prepped, just so that you have an idea of the freshness. These are usually good for about 4 to 5 days. So this next recipe is super easy, and actually the credit goes out to my brother-in-law, Jay Morris, who taught me this, and I still am pretty impressed at how simple, quick, and easy it is. All you need to do, literally, for this is take some already cooked chicken, throw it with some lettuce, toss it with a little Caesar dressing, and wrap it up in a tortilla so that you have basically a protein and salad entree that fits in the palm of your hand, and you can run out the door with it. So let's do this really quick so that you can see. We're gonna take 1 thigh and 1 breast, and that should be enough to make 3 wraps. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna take the chicken off the bone, making sure that we don't take any of the bones. Breasts have a lot of meat. It tends to be a little dry. So what I try to do is I try to blend it with a little bit of thigh meat, because the thigh is dark meat and usually have a little bit more fat, so it's a little bit more tender and a little bit more moist. Now the nice thing about chicken is that if it's cooked all the way through, it will usually last in the refrigerator for 4 days. You can also do this if you'd prefer a little bit more flavor with the fried chicken from a Vons or a Albertsons or your local grocery. Make sure you run your finger over the entire piece of chicken. Make sure that you're not losing any meat. We do not get any prizes for wasting food. Once you feel that you've got as much of the chicken as you can, what we're gonna do is we're just gonna shred the chicken that we have. You just wanna make sure that there's no bones, just for safety reasons. Once you have the chicken shredded in N, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna rinse my hands really fast, because what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a little bit of mayo and a little bit of the Caesar dressing to give it flavor and to give it a little bit of binding, and then we're gonna be able to wrap it right away. Okay, so now that the chicken is shredded and we've got the Best Foods real mayo ready to go, we're just gonna take a dollop, which is about maybe a heaping tablespoon. I'm gonna do just a little bit more, 1.5 tablespoons for an entire thigh and an entire breast. And then we're gonna add about half of that amount of the mayo Caesar dressing. Now these two together will be the binding agent. And you just wanna mix it so that they're coated evenly. Perfect. Now, what we're gonna do next is we're going to dispose of the bones, and we're going to lay out 3 burrito shells. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna build the wraps. This is where it gets a little strange. If you're gonna eat them right away, go ahead and build them with the lettuce. If you're not gonna eat them right away, don't put the lettuce in, because it will have a tendency to wilt. So if you're gonna eat it right away, go ahead and take a whole leaf of lettuce, fold it over, and what you now have is the basis of the size of the burrito roll, like we did for the breakfast burritos. Take a third of the chicken that's left, and now all you have to do is, just like before, and you have a quick burrito. Now, if you want to turn it into a true wrap, let's say you're heading to class and you don't have time, that's when you make the expedited wrap, which is you take a leaf, you lay it in the burrito, you fold over the edge, take a third of the chicken, spread it long ways, and what you're gonna do is make it into a wrap that you can carry with you and run out the door. The last way is, if you're going to make it for later, you can fill it with the chicken, but you leave the lettuce out. And rather than rolling it and sealing it, we're literally gonna just fold it over like a taco. And then when you are ready to eat it, you can open it up, throw the lettuce in, and head out. And those 3 ways of preparing it make it easy depending on what you want to do. Okay, so in this episode of the Dorm Debacle, we have shown you how to shop to fill the refrigerator with about $47 worth of product. We showed you how to make breakfast burritos with beans and fresh egg and cheese. We did a bean dip for later with some chips, or maybe even just by itself, if you'd like. We have a chicken Caesar wrap, and made for 3 different uses. One is delayed, one is immediate, and one is kind of in between. We'll have more episodes like this with this setup, just to give you more tips, more things that you can do with the tools that you have. And we look forward to seeing you again on Fresh Food Therapy. Dip it into a little bit of peanut butter and go to town. I don't want you to see me like this.